Then she became a Baal Tshuva. She became Jewish. She decided to go to Bezin. She came to the RCC, Rabbi Sauer, Rabbi Union, and another.
Let's explain. She had cancer and she needed chemotherapy. Chemotherapy will destroy your gonadal structure. So they can, with a needle, take out the eggs from her ovary before she gets chemotherapy. It's frozen, so then Baruch Hashem later on, when she's cured, they can use the egg for in vitro fertilization and future fertility.
Can you imagine if I wouldn't have a doctor next to me?
No, just so everyone knows what do you mean. That's why they did it.
You did very well. Okay, thank you. I hope you continue to do that. Then she decided she's now she became Jewish. She gets married to somebody. Then she wants to use the eggs. Those eggs were outside, were in the freezer. Do they need a Giyur or they don't need a Giyur? That's the question.
Right. She was a goy when they were taken from her.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're goyish eggs.
The goyish eggs.
What does that mean? Does the kid need the Giyur? I'm saying the eventual child would need a Giyur?
The question is if the eggs are goyish eggs, so then definitely she needs a Giyur.
Just like sperm from another man.
And the kids will need a Giyur. There's no question about it. The kids will need a Giyur too. Okay. So let's see first of all the few shots. By the way, if you've seen during the week, I put this headline on Monday night. We got around dozen answers, dozen responses, Billy and Jacobs, and everybody was interested. Interesting, those who were interested, only two of them are here. Shlomo and you and Ernie. All the rest didn't show up. So they're interested only to write. But it's also good. It shows there is interest in the issue. And the issue is really an issue. So much so, David, why don't you read the Shaila on page number 5.
5?
Yeah. I received a phone call. Do you have it? Page number 5.
Yeah.
That's how we start.
Okay. I received a phone call from an individual who's dating a 40-year-old woman. The couple were interested in getting married. The only issue was that she was not Jewish. The caller informed me that the woman was undergoing a conversion, and he confirmed that they would not get married prior to the completion of the conversion. The couple was particularly concerned from the medical perspective regarding the woman's fertility. The woman is currently 40 years old. By the time of the conversion would be complete, she would already be 41 years old. She is well aware that a woman's fertility declines rapidly at such an age and desperately would like to freeze her eggs as soon as possible. They realized, however, that her eggs would be extracted before the conversion and would be frozen as non-Jewish eggs. The man wanted to know if he implanted those eggs, which were frozen before the conversion and subsequently implanted after the conversion, considered Jewish eggs or non-Jewish eggs. I told him this was a fantastic question and many rabbis would require the baby to undergo a conversion. The man was unhappy with this and was uncomfortable with conversion for his child. He wanted to know what the opinions were, who wouldn't require a gerus. This caller's uncle is a well-known rabbi in the New York area, and I called him to discuss the case. The rabbi is actually the one who referred this man to me. The uncle gave me the background of this individual. He used to be an unbelievable student in the best yeshivas. However, he was unfortunately molested for 7 consecutive summers. Consequently, the young man is no longer religious, but is slowly coming back to his Jewish roots. His uncle and I agreed that the most lenient opinion would be appropriate for this specific case.
Okay, so you understand why the man was demanding, he wanted to have the gerus all before, because he wanted to have the son, his son. Otherwise, the son, the boy, is not his son. It's not considered his son. It's a ger. שנולד כקוטן דם, right? Okay, so you understand that question. But I want to show you even the question a little bit further. On page number 46.
Okay.
Look at 46 to see the question. Then we start answering. Page 46. I got the shaila from Av Bedin in Yerushalayim, Lord Harabag, who is the chief rabbi's brother-in-law. מרדכי רלב"ג. אישה יהודייה קיבלה תרומה ביצית מגויה. הביצית הופרטה מזרע של בעלה אליו נישא כדת משה וישראל. What happened? A woman she could not bear her own child. She could only be the surrogate. So she got a donation from a Goya, she got the egg. Very nice. And then they had two girls, נולדו שתי בנות תאומות. They had two twins. All of a sudden, the husband and the wife decided they're going to fight. They want to get divorced. הצדדים נמצאים בתהליך גירושין. והאישה, the wife, as usual from her husband, she demands some alimony, money. טובת מזונות עבור הבנות. She asks for money. The husband says, that's not my child. Because the child was
from goyish to eggs.
With the goyish eggs.
No yichus to me.
No yichus to me. I am the man. That's what I tried to explain to you before. The man.
He was the his father. Sperm was used as the father.
Sperm used, but it was with the goya. The question is now, if you remember,
he is the father.
Who is the? He's not the father.
But he's converted.
Who's the mother?
Who is the question is who is the mother? The mother is the lady who is the surrogate. Then the wife is the mother.
No. The woman. No. The Beitzah of the Goya was fertilized by the husband and put into her uterus.
Right. So
she was the Baal Leda.
Everybody holds.
The Jewish mother was the Baal Leda.
When they came to Rabbi Yosef the first time, they asked him, in such a case, when the egg donor is a Goya and the surrogate is the Jewish, who is the mother? At the beginning it says that it goes according to the DNA, and the mother is the donor.
And requires Giyur.
Somebody, and the story is that I can tell you the guy's name. He decided to. He said he's another dying in Bezin, and he went to Rabbi Yosef. He said it's impossible. Not the surrogate, because the other Rabbanim claim the surrogate mother is the real mother. The other, she gave the birth. She is the mother. Rabbi Yosef decided, you know what? We don't have any source to that. Neither here nor there, and therefore it's a suffix. And you need a Giyur. Both cases. Some Rabbanim still hold that the mother is the surrogate. Some Rabbanim hold that the mother is the DNA. Rabbi Yosef and probably most of the poskim hold like a Rabbi Yosef Passan that it's a suffix.
It requires Giyur means suffix.
But the husband, right now, in our particular case, he is divorcing his wife.
And he'll say, it's a monetary, he'll say, Hamoitz Mechaver alav a raya. Since it's mominous, they'll say, you bring me a raya. And whenever it's a suffix, he doesn't just let money from it.
You can't get any money from me.
Right.
That's exactly the case.
It's a valid claim.
So now let's understand. Look what happened all of a sudden when you decide it's a suffix. There are other cases that we're going to deal with later on, but
the assumption has to be that they didn't do a Giyur for these kids also.
Well, they did a Giyur. They did a Giyur for the kid, but still, it's not like this.
Why is it relevant?
I'm sorry?
The egg was fertilized when they put it in.
The same thing. The suffix is the same suffix. The husband would say that I pass in the halacha that the DNA is not the mother, but the mother is the
guy went back to Rabbi Yashiv. When he first made the psak, he said that's considered a guy. In the other case, that means it was a yid?
Yeah. So, the beginning, that's what he said, but later on, immediately it was changed. Yeah. Okay. So when I had this question, the question. This is a nice question. If you look at page number 8, I asked many Rabbonim this question. It's interesting. We're going to answer a few of the Rabbonim. We'll see the Rabbonim, most of the answers. What do they pass in? Actually, we'll see soon enough that most of them pass in the aloha is that the eggs are not so. The egg need Giyur, the eggs can't have Giyur, so the child later on that is born from this eggs needs Giyur, and the husband or the man on that particular case is not the father because it comes out because they need the Giyur. Or maybe it's a Giyur like Chumrah, but it's not even a Giyur like Chumrah according to most of them.
He's the father, but
not halachically. That's the what
that's the point is that he's a father, but it's a God.
What do you mean he's a father? He's not a
What I'm
father.
saying, he is a
the
father.
Maisa he wants to say he was because he was his
Father, he is
genetically
a
he is,
father.
but halachically
When a goy
No
has a relationship with a Jewish lady,
Sus
You
Zera.
know, if he had a relationship with a shiksa,
yeah,
what would the child be?
the child be
A shiksa, but if he is the father.
he's becoming such poor.
I don't know. I say yes, but that's
said
beside the
yes?
point.
It's not his son.
He said it's not his son. It's not true. It is his son. But the yich is after the mother. That's all.
No, it's not the father because Gershon.
Oh, we don't hear him. What did he say?
Yeah, but true the Shevis Yitzhara, he might be.
The Shevis Yitzhara is not the Shevis
It's not
Yitzhara.
true, but the Shevis Yitzhara.
So,
Because even Goyim have the Shevis Yitzhara to populate the world.
It's not the father.
We agree not to.
what did he say?
He's agreeing. He's agreeing. He's not
No, he's not the father. He's not the father. So there's no proof. Okay.
He's not the father. Who's the father? There is no father.
I don't have the page here, but I want to read you. I asked many rabbanim. Look at the list. There was Weiss, Reuven Feinstein, Zalman Nehemiah, Rav Stern, Dichovsky, Rav Ullman, Rav Bleicher, Rav Mordechai Tendler, Rav David Kahn, Rav Scheinfeld. I want to read you one answer. I did not receive an answer from Reuven Feinstein. And I asked him, why don't you want to respond? Reuven, I'm close to Reuven Feinstein. So he writes to me, or he says to me that he stated that he knows his father was certainly matir. However, because of the tremendous politics involved in the Shaila, Rav Moshe told his children not to get involved in passing any Shaila.
Wow. No passing that Shaila.
On that Shaila, these issues, Rav Moshe told the kids not to pass them, and all this, and therefore they're not allowed to write. It's interesting.
So you want to say that Moshe would have mattered the...
No, the issue of the... Rav Moshe was writing with regards to Zra Melachutit, artificial insemination and surrogate. Rav Moshe got involved with it, but Rav Moshe was the only one who got involved. He told his Radovim, and you can get an answer from them. Okay? So, that's I just wanted to show you. Interesting what he said no. Now, the truth of the matter is, everybody that saw the Shaila asked, I don't understand. When somebody is implanting a heart in somebody's body, is the heart is the person's heart or not? What do you think? Pardon?
That was the other email you sent today.
Okay, well they have an email. Okay, fine. Maybe I sent it for that reason.
That part was in the list, but there was a lot of...
Okay, so...
Misora, once you transplant an organ into a patient, it becomes his organ, he has his blood supply, and it's nourished from him. That's like when a kidney transplant, a heart transplant...
A pacemaker, for instance. I saw a child, for instance...
Nobody argues.
But who cares if the heart is not here?
Because it
Maybe it's a גיור. Maybe it's a...
No, because when you... Because sometimes when you bury somebody, you need to be buried with your original organ.
Right. So you
The
have to
eggs
extract
are going to be the
guy.
nafkamina.
So the question... Again, I'm going to ask you the question. A pacemaker. I saw a Shaila as follows. Somebody put a pacemaker in somebody's body, in Reuven's body. And he told the rabbi, that particular rabbi told Reuven, please, on Shabbos, don't walk up on the mountain. Because the minute you go up in the mountain, your pacemaker will be running. And you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos.
Who said that?
It's a demand pacemaker, so the more exertion he does, the more rapid it will fire. But that's anyway. That means you can't control when a person sleeps, when a person eats. That's normal functioning. His pacemaker does that when you go to the mountain.
So what does it mean? The pacemaker? So you are allowed to, so to speak, to Mechal Shabbos. You consider Mechal Shabbos. You are allowed to do it. Am I right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bernie.
But that's no raya that you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos. Because that's
Let Moti say something. Moti wasn't here for a long time.
that's a question of because you have to be Mechal Shabbos.
No, but he wants, is it considered a human?
Go ahead, Moti.
You have to be Mechal Shabbos. No, you reduce the amount of Chilul Shabbos that there is.
If there is, we have to clear, is there Chilul Shabbos?
They're running all the time.
Fertilize the egg and the baby comes down.
Hold on.
You move.
While it's there, maybe
more energy than when you don't.
he said something very interesting. He said the sperm of the man goes out of the sperm.
It's out of the body.
It goes out of the body.
It ends up being, when it gets fertilized, when it fertilizes the egg, it ends up coming out and it becomes a baby. Meaning it doesn't stay in the woman's
So
body.
maybe that's
The baby comes out.
so. No, before baby come out, when the man is
Man is
releasing.
never a father.
So and still is considered a father. It means that's okay. So, but the egg always stays with him. The egg stays there till the baby is born. So what is the difference between the egg and the heart? What's the difference between the egg and even the pacemaker? Pacemaker is artificial. Yeah, go ahead.
Abortion. Because on one hand, you say that it's part of her, it's both or part of her body. On the other hand, it's not so simple. It's considered its own creature because you can't kill it. You have an abortion situation. You look at the baby as
you cannot hurt the heart. You can't kill the heart, whatever your heart is.
Because you'd be killing the parent.
No, the same thing.
But you see, but you're not killing the parent here. You could take out a kidney. You can't kill the baby. There's an isser involved here. You could take out a kidney and donate it if you want. That's up to you. It's no problem. It's not just an aver that's bottled. It also has a din of its own identity. So you, depending which halachos you look.
It's like a berry b'fnei.
But it's also, but the egg before it's a.
The egg is not berry b'fnei, but the egg belongs to.
So at what point does it stop being bottled to her and become a
by itself?
So when you put it into her, if it's early enough for her, it's bottled to her. If it's later already, it's not bottled anymore. It's a berry b'fnei.
The question is, how did it arrive at the situation where it now became a berry b'fnei atzma? If you hold that it got all the nourishment from the mother, and that's what makes it the child of the mother, that's one thing. But that's the real question.
The nourishment is both from the mother and the DNA, so to speak. What's the nourishment from the mother?
I'm not even sure what your question. I'm not even sure what nafkamina you're trying to find out.
I'm trying to find out
the heart and the pacemaker.
Most of the poskim hold that the egg is so to speak a part, not a part of the body.
I mean, once it's in the freezer.
No, but once it's in the freezer, you need another giur. Why? I'm asking why should it need another giur?
Because it has. If you had like what Billy said in his email, forget about if it's in an egg. Let's say a person donated bone marrow or blood. It's in a blood bank. So what do you get? That's this tissue. It's maya ba'al. It's not. The egg is sitting there. It's like tissue. For example, all that sperm that's in a sperm bank. Billions of men have donated sitting there. It's just sitting there. Right now it's nothing. It has potential later on if you put it together with an egg and it creates an embryo, so it has something. But right now it's just tissue. Someone has a...
So if it's tissue should be part of the lady.
We say part of it, but right now she has bilus on it. It's hers.
No, bilus, I'm not so sure she is.
Well, whose is it?
I have no idea.
We know it's hers, it's registered to her. You can't use it for anybody else.
So why do you need a giyur for that? Why would you need a giyur?
I thought you said the giyur is not accepted. When she's Magaya, what happens to the egg there's no giyur there.
What? There's no giyur, but the giyur belongs to him. What happened if I took the hand out.
But a person went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's excrement. That's pirsha ba'alma. So that's one aspect. Then you have shichva zer. That's more, but it's certainly it's external to the body at that point, and then it's one that's out there. It's not part of her body.
What happened if
What happened if you incubated the egg, not in a body?
If what?
If you incubated the egg,
Yeah.
but not in a body.
Yes, in vitro fertilization.
No. Yeah,
He's
I'm
saying
talking
we use
about
an external incubator.
You can't do it. It doesn't work.
No. But he's saying
Yes. What happened in the future? Yes.
Well, that's his thing. So therefore, what? It's going to be no mother.
That's the question.
Then a mother would be purely genetic mother.
Sure, the mother would be the box.
Yeah.
Genetic mother, the egg mother.
But what is? Let me ask you a question. What happened if we take a person and he has to go to the mikveh, and for some reason we could cut off his head, okay, and then reinstate back his head?
You can do.
Hold on.
So what's the question?
Okay.
He went into
And whatever, and then this person was a goy. He was a
So you want
goy.
to know if he has
And he
to
was a
go...
giyur without the hand, and then the hand, you need another giyur for the hand.
But the hand isn't an entity.
He becomes Jewish. Now you attach his hand.
So
The hand doesn't
take the giyur too.
It's bottled to the body.
The eggs too.
It's bottled to the body.
It's bottled to the body. Why doesn't the egg back to the body too?
Because that's the information that gets passed down.
Is one step beyond.
So now when you will put the egg back, it's like the hand.
No?
No, but it's different.
Why not?
It's
more. I like that.
Once you put it back in,
Ask the Shaila. Ask the Shaila.
No, but you're not putting it back in the egg.
What Zvi wants to say is, let's say somebody had an accidental injury at work, and his hand was cut off. You can preserve it for 24 hours. Let's just so happens that this happened to be a goy who was scheduled for his tvila and giyor that afternoon in Besdin. And he goes to Besdin without the hand, and then he becomes a Jew that day. And then tomorrow he goes to UCLA operating room and they reattach his hand. It takes 24 hours, they do it. So we don't have to say it's a new giyur because that was like an organ that was sitting around somewhere. He wants to compare that to the egg, that the egg's sitting in a thing. Now you put it back into her. That's a little different because this creates the next generation. You're worried about the giyur for the child. It's not just a hand.
No,
when you put a kidney or a thing, it's part of her. You're worried about the next generation.
The hand has no...
What will happen?
The hand will never have...
No, and there's no hemshire. Here the whole issue is the giyur for the child. The egg creates that.
I'm sorry. What's happened if the lady has the baby, she's pregnant already with a baby inside? You need a special giyur for the baby? No. Why?
That's the Gemara.
That's the Gemara. So it's okay. So the same thing here. Do by he go the hand.
That's not in. What do you mean that's the same? It's not the same.
Here there's no tefillah. Here there's a tefillah. The shaila is over Yarchimas, then there was a tefillah here.
But then there's no tefillah either.
Doesn't matter. The egg had the tefillah because they're inside the body.
With the egg. But after it was, her tefillah didn't work, and everything was good, and even though the egg was in there, it's a problem. There's a technical issue that there's a chatzitza between the egg and the tefillah. Let's say that her tefillah works for the egg. Let's agree with you.
The story of the ring. What happened if the story was the ring?
Her egg and the
Why? Is the chatzitza between the hand also? With the case that I told earlier, and then I told you. Why is that the egg is okay?
The difference is that since no one needs the hand, and the hand is not what's getting the giyur, then of course you don't have to then do a
is the
but if you're going backwards and saying that this egg eventually will need a geirus because it will then be a person, and you want her geirus to work for that person, the future person, then obviously that means that her tefillah has to work for that person. So at the very least, it would be chatzitza.
I don't say the chatzitza.
No, there's no chatzitza. The egg wasn't in her body when she
That's the point. So that egg didn't have a tefillah.
That egg sitting in the freezer.
No, reason it didn't have a tefillah. Let the geirus work. Where's
he's
the
not saying that the egg sitting in the freezer is now a Jewish egg. He's saying when you reimplant the egg into the mother, it now gets consumed into the mother. It's Jewish.
Yeah, but it's not just reimplanting the egg. It's reimplanting an embryo.
No, the egg.
He wants to say
the egg
egg.
No, it's an embryo. You don't put the egg back. You put a fertilized egg back.
Put the egg back.
It's not the egg. It's the egg with
never put an egg
It's a
back.
new entity.
No,
It's not the egg. Oh, if you put the egg back and you let the husband have beer with her. I mean, first of all, that's not how it works.
No. He's talking about fertilized.
So this embryo that's
talking
back,
about
not the egg.
fertilized.
He wants to call the embryo while the egg is there. Absolutely not. That's a new barrier. An egg is an egg, and an embryo is a barrier.
Let's say there's a Shiloh also. Let's say there's Shiloh also. I know that Zvi spoke about a while ago. Let's say you have an ovarian transplant. Right. And in that case,
that's a different thing. We discussed that.
I understand. But it's very similar. Let's say when she was a guy, she had
the whole ovary is somewhere.
She took her ovary out. Her whole ovary was out.
Then she replanted
and then now you have a whole.
I would say there's no Shiloh. That's her. It doesn't need Giyur. That's like a kidney and a heart. No, it's not. Because then you now reimplant. Let's take your Sushtel carefully. You now reimplant her ovary. That's an organ filled with 500 eggs. You supply blood supply to it. Now it's living. 3 months later, during her menstrual cycle, it ovulates an egg. Her husband has beer with her. Now she has a child. So it's like a kidney transplant or a heart. That's not the same as the egg. When you're now putting the embryo in, it's a new barrier. The egg. It's a barrier. She wanted to compare the egg to the hand.
It's the other barrier at that point. So if you do it early enough.
Why does this Maya? What do you mean Maya? The egg. Yeah.
Once the egg is fertilized,
even if it's fertilized, it's the real problem.
Go ahead.
So in that case, maybe it's not considered very in that situation because it's still my.
But it's not the egg. It's not the egg.
But it's the embryo.
He's saying.
I'm saying
wait. Somebody's going to say.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. Let's go to page number 19. Let's move from that subject for a second. Otherwise, we get nowhere. Now, David Kahn. You know David Kahn? Let's see what he wrote me.
With those coins,
of those Kahn. He calls him Kahn. He's not a coin, you know.
But he spells his name C-O-H-E-N.
Yeah, but K-Aleph-H-N is Kohen.
It's Kahn.
Look at the bottom. He wrote me a few things, and the letter in the last paragraph is about this very subject. Let's read the subject base. Yeah. אודות הגיורת שהקפיאה ביציות לפני הגיור.
She froze her eggs.
Eggs was taken out before.
בעיה חריפה ומעניינת. He agreed with me that it's an interesting thing, מעניינת. והנה אודות ביצה נוכריה, מי האם, הביא ברציץ אליעזר, ראיה מסויטה שגם ילדה שעיברה בסכינה. Okay, whoever the mother, the question is the mother got from, I'm not going to learn את סוגיה ותתפילן. אמנם, מסתבר מאוד שגם קיבלה ovary transplant, לכולה עלמא, אבל חלק מגופה.
That's what it is, because it's a neighbor.
Because there's no organ.
והפוסקים הביאו ראיה, שכהן רשאי לקבל את הקורנה, לבטל לגוף. קורניה, לבטל לגוף. The halacha is as follows. Rav Unterman, Shevet Yehuda, came up with a new halacha. It was really a new thing in the 50s. At that time, the doctors discovered that you can take a cornea and put it in somebody's eye. After he's dead, take the cornea and put it in. So the question is, can you take it to a coin? Because you took it from a dead person. If you take it from a dead person, it's tumah. Give it to a coin.
No one's asked that about a hand.
Oh no! So he said he didn't answer.
But that is one of the heterim, they say.
The heterim is something else. The heterim is the cornea. If you take it out and you place it in somebody's eyes, it's alive. What is metame? Something that is dead. This is never dead.
It has to be kazayas also. Also has to be kazayas.
It's also cornea is really from epithelial skin, so it's really. I remember heard Rabbi Sauer once say it's not really busser, so it's not really involved with.
You say it's not body
because it's epithelium, it's skin. The cornea is part of our skin.
Right.
It's not busted. So it's not tumor.
It's convoluted.
That's so they've added other heterim beyond Lavunja.
Embryologically.
Maybe.
But his Shora was no chiyuv because it had flesh.
No chiyuv.
It still has chiyuv.
I don't get that far. It's a lie. First off,
No, you got to take the cornea very quickly. You get see the cornea doesn't die for 8 hours. See, for example, a kidney you can't take from a dead person. Japan, where they didn't have brain death laws, they used to harvest the kidney immediately after somebody died. Their statistics were very poor. But the cornea you can harvest within 8 hours because it's just epithelial skin, it still remains alive for a period of time. So it doesn't die like other tissue.
Before you harvest anything, why is he tamei if a lot of parts of him are alive? For the first minute, he's not tamei.
He's not tamei because he's still alive.
According to this, he's not
According to this, he's not tamei. That's what I said
Why?
to you.
Because if you touch a part that is dead, his busser is dead. So the cornea is not.
How logically you define the whole
I don't think the day to die.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like from this, it takes
The eye always is not there. It's never there.
No, I'm talking about his post-mortem. They didn't allow brain death. So they would wait for people to die and they would usually open them. But the
I don't know. Listen, you have to ask somebody who knows that. I don't know that. If you want to learn with Shevet Yehuda, explain to you what he's saying.
What happens
this
if you
part never dies. Why? Okay. Now, this is now the crunch here.
Is he always
Mistaber, the last
We
line.
learned that it was.
The kevan da beitza ba megufa, due to the fact that the egg comes from the body of the lady. Betalala is botel.
It's botel. And therefore what?
And therefore,
Amnam tzrichim raya. When she has gear, it's the guy with her.
Because it's such a small.
It's like an agav canyon.
Right. It's a small finger.
It's like agav.
Finger. It's bottle.
The bottle meaning?
The bottle is you don't need.
No, that means once she has the gear, even if it's in the freezer, it goes
outside. What's the big deal?
It's like agav.
It could be a million miles away.
Wow.
Bottle the what? Is there a shiur for something like this?
It's small. The body has 360 parts. That part disappeared, and that's it. And therefore you don't need גיור. If you have a guy, 95% of the body.
Can I bring a raya again? But then you can't say that this is bottle. For example, in Isser Veheter, something that's a davar chashuv cannot be mitzvah. So this, once you now fertilize it and make it an embryo, it's not bottle.
First of all, it's not bottle.
Before it was fertilized.
I'm saying as an egg. I can understand as an egg it's bottle her. But when it's put back into her, it's now
it doesn't matter. That's after גיור. It doesn't matter.
Why? It was an egg. It was bottle.
Okay, I hear what he's saying. I hear what he's saying.
How much of the body could you switch? Could you put 40% of a guy back into a yin?
Maybe 51.
50%. What's the difference? Each part that you put in.
You know, a lady, he'll tell you, the doctor will tell you, how many eggs does the girl have? 50,000 eggs?
Yeah, right? No, she's born with all the eggs she has.
50,000. Right. So in 50,000 eggs,
she ovulates one a month.
Right. So we talk about 2 or 3 or 4 eggs.
At a certain age, those eggs are not good anymore. Like when they reach menopause, 50, she has the eggs in there, and they don't function.
So answering you, how many eggs we talk about? 6 eggs, a dozen eggs it took. She had 50,000. 50,000. It's bottled off just in the amount of eggs, let alone in the bottle of the body.
I remember by male, our zera we're creating 200 million new zera every minute.
All the time.
So you understand? The female is born with all the eggs that she's going to have for the rest of her life. It's there already. So it's a completely different life.
I don't understand.
I still don't understand.
No, I don't. He didn't give us. You understand what he said? Because it says it came from her group.
She left her hand up.
It's part of her group.
Maybe the hand's bottle.
Once it's left, it's still part of the group.
No, he's saying even what's like if she stored blood, or if she stored.
If she does the גיור,
she went to a blood bank and gave blood because she's going to have surgery on her hand. She wanted to do auto donation. It's like blood. So it's not to her, it's hers.
And she went to make fun.
But it's not in her body.
Why not?
But we don't say that 2 weeks later.
Yeah, but there are certain things that we allow. Certain things we
will
allow.
not have a problem if but blood doesn't have a effect whether she's a Jew or not.
Then if she has the hand cut off, let's say, and just goes
the material.
it wouldn't work. It
Here it's very material as to whether the child is going to require gear, and that's why there's enough commitment between bone marrow, blood, tissue that she's storing, and an egg. He wants to say that an egg is like all other tissue.
Even though they didn't get it tefillah, still we don't care. It's batal. Goes all the way around. It doesn't make it that now added tefillah. Even if you want to say that it's batal, that it makes it that it didn't ruin her tefillah. Why does it make it batal that it gives that thing a
because it didn't ruin her tefillah. That's exactly the point.
No, but again, we don't put just an egg of somebody else in her. It's going to be a fertilized embryo. That's why, and we consider it.
Just go away from trying to say it backwards. Try to say now the kid doesn't need its tefillah because it's like it got its tefillah because it was batal to her.
It's not that it got its tefillah. It's that it was batal to her.
Yeah, then it's not batal.
Right.
He said it. He said it. He said it. Tzrichim raya.
He said it's a raya. Right.
It's a statement.
So was the hand statement that was different.
No, because there's
What makes a year?
If you're born from a Jewish mother, or you went to Giyor.
You're in a what's the difference?
We have a Gorim that on the neshama is fluidable. There's a difference. The brain, other organs. We now have in Truma. Remember in Torah we had if you get an injury, something that only makes you a treifa versus something that's there's a hierarchy of different organs.
My mom was a gear.
Yeah, but this is not an organ, you say. An organ is something that...
No, the ovary is an organ.
Yeah, but we said the ovary is fine. It's an egg is different.
Certainly not an egg.
Fertilized egg is different.
She's the entity. That egg will...
Can I continue?
Please.
Yes.
Okay. If you turn to page number... I want to bring you a ride from Rav Moshe, page number 27. First of all, before 27, page number 26,
everybody down. Moshe will give us a ride.
He says, Rabbi Linzer, right, he says, I understand, and actually somebody said it here.
26.
Depends when we take the egg out.
When you put it back in.
We don't put it back in. We don't put it back in.
Not by itself.
Not by itself. Then it has to be fertilized.
It's got to be fertilized. Yes.
So if it's
less than 40 days, so it's not an egg. It's maybe it's an egg, but it's definitely not fertilized yet.
Even a fertilized embryo is
it's not considered embryo. It's not considered embryo.
It's not considered
embryo. So the mele maybe
if you put it in early enough, then you might.
That's what I was saying before. Should be better.
Early enough.
It's always put before 40.
It's always before.
It's put day 12. Day 8.
That's the whole point.
So why do we need a Giyur?
So why should you?
Then it doesn't need a Giyur.
Then maybe you don't need a Giyur because it's less than 40 days. 40 days. It's not even the halacha. We call it an embryo in America, but halacha it's not an embryo. Even though Moshe says that even under 40 days you're not allowed to.
Right? He's a chumrah by abortion.
It's not a chumrah by abortion, but it's not the same as Sis Eliezer says. No problem, no problem. So but still, we know there is a difference between 40 days and under 40 days. If it's under 40 days, maybe you don't need a Giyur.
Term is there after
He said still self.
Okay.
I mean, unless you want to be really machmir, you can go be a suffix. Maybe not if it's really, if you hold on to Eliezer where he says no problem.
It came from the body. It was born from a Jewish mother, but the egg came from maybe a non-Jewish mother. Maybe.
Yeah. So, page number 27. One more
eye. The Gemara says prior to 40 years called Maya Baal. So therefore, there's a cutoff. You understand? That there's a more lenient. Since the letter says that if a woman needs an abortion prior to 40 days, you can be lenient.
I understand, but we start off by making a statement. The Riyasha said is to take a non-Jewish person's egg and put it into a Jewish woman and they need a Geirus.
Yeah.
This is argument with Riyasha and saying since under 40 days it doesn't? Is that what we're saying? No,
no, because the egg
in the body.
was not with it, with the body.
You're saying this as far as the argument of Riyasha?
No, he's saying there was a Giyur in between. You have to
there was a Giyur.
You have to add one more piece to Eliashiv's
Is the Giyur of the girl, of the woman, applying to the eggs or not? That's the question.
But Yashiv's psak was based on there was no gerus.
Right,
It was just a non-Jewish woman.
40 days. What does the 40 days have to do with anything?
Because the embryo, let's say what happened was the woman's non-Jewish, she freezes her eggs, she does Giyur, then she does Giyur, she fertilizes her eggs, and then she gets put them back in before 40 days.
Okay.
There's a shaila whether at 40 days it's considered up to 40 days it's considered ma'abalma.
So let's say it's considered ma'abalma.
So then it's a shaila.
Okay, but Yashiv already paskin, then it's not considered ma'abalma. Or Yashiv said that if it's
you still need Giyur.
No, she's not Gayish mother. She's a Giyurist. She's a
Giyurist. He was a Gayish mother.
That's the reason they said it's a suffix. Depends when you put him back in.
It doesn't make a difference when you put it in.
But the DNA might
we
not
don't
be
know
Gayish
exactly.
anymore. That's the whole thing. He's saying
we don't know exactly whether it's already been fertilized.
What difference does it make?
Oh, he's saying it doesn't matter.
What difference does it make? Every egg should be
raya from. The fact that it was under 40, it's always under 40. And Rabbi Yashiv paskin, under 40 doesn't make a difference. It could go bust the DNA. Then he switched and said it's a suffix.
But the Moshe passing under 40 that you need a Giyur, right? And therefore,
no.
Here she had the Giyur.
Rabbi Yashiv did.
When she had the Giyur, the egg was out.
The egg was out, right?
So it's still a goyish DNA. That's his point.
So he's saying it's still goyish DNA.
Obviously, Rabbi Yashiv rejected the idea of ma'abalma.
But it's not goyish DNA because if the Giyur apply, if it's bottled, you understand
assuming
that?
It's bottled and
assuming that the Giyur worked, yeah.
Right, that's right.
The 40 days. If the Giyur worked, you could implant her when it was 60 days, and it would also work.
No.
But even if it was done, what difference does it make? The 40 days the demarcation of 40 days is not going to Rabbi Yashiv. So what difference does it make? What
are you trying to say that once, for example, she now has the Giyur. The egg was given when she was non-Jewish, but now it's been fertilized by the husband and it's put inside her. It's now day 10. Now, since you want to say since it's koilet in her body and it's prior to 40 days. And now she's a Jewish woman. It's koilet and therefore it's Jewish.
Yeah.
That's what you want to say.
I know it makes
somehow the fact that it's sojourning in her uterus for the 30 days prior to the 40 days.
He wants to say that
and it's in the Jewish body. It's Jewish. That's what you just said.
That's what I'm saying.
No. He said if the mother is the egg, but here's a Giyur, and this woman is now having this embryo in her body from day 10 through day 40, somehow that makes a difference.
Why would that make a difference?
Well, because she's Jewish.
There's more genes.
So let's say she was Jewish.
While it was in her body, those 30 days of Maya Ba'alma, it was in a Jewish body.
Good. So then
now 40 days it becomes a real person.
Somebody else
becomes a real person. Now she's a Jew.
You're making a fundamental mistake.
That's the thing. I'm just explaining his svara. That at day 40, when it mamish becomes a halachic embryo, she's Jewish.
That's far as now like Rabbi Yashiv. Just take a regular case.
I'm not sure you said anything about that.
A regular Jewish woman on day 10 gets
somebody else's
right.
egg.
So from day 10 to day 40, it was in a Jewish woman.
Somebody
Jewish.
But
who cares if it's someone else?
Yes.
Okay. I agree with that. There's no raya against Rabbi Yashiv.
Of course, there's no raya against
Three more rayas.
But it's not.
Let's assume that you can take today we cannot do it, but I am a believer that tomorrow morning, what you can do today, you can do tomorrow.
That's true.
That's one thing that I proved it many times.
Yeah, that's true.
Today, the eggs are frozen. I can take the eggs in 10 years from now, and believe me, it's not going to be 10 years, maybe 15 years. I can take the eggs in my hands and go to the mikveh with the eggs. Just the eggs themselves. Like, believe that it can be done. You say you can. It can be done.
No, but an egg is a microscope. It's 10 angstroms. What do you mean? Okay.
He has a container. The egg is in there.
In the box.
Wait a second. Turn to page 64. המפרק את המיטה להטבילה.
What page is it?
Page 64.
Okay. 64.
Somebody he has a bed, he needs to do the bed was tumor. The tumor of the bed.
Break the bed.
He has to break the bed. והנוגע בחבלין טהור. שהדולוך is המפרק את המיטה להטבילה, אף על פי שהיא מתארת שהיא שלמה, פעמים שהיא גדולה, says רב עובדיה ברטנורה, ואינה יכולה להיכנס במקווה, וצורך לפורקה. So he takes the pieces of the bed, he takes some of the metal, he take the mattress, I don't know.
And reassemble it afterwards.
Right.
Put it back together.
You know what?
Once you break it, you don't need mikvah because
wait a second.
Kalim are tired by breaking it.
Not if you reassemble. You did it. Okay. can I do the same thing with a person? Can I take the person without the eggs and the eggs separately and toivel it?
Okay, go ahead. So fine, you want to be toivel the egg, but there's chatzitza, the eggs. You put it in the mikvah, it's gone.
It's not just. I'm telling you, in 10 years from now, the Dr. Agustin, you know Dr. Agustin? Dr. Agustin came up with a revolution that you can do the eggs, whoop, put them in the mikvah, it's okay. Is it possible?
So if it could be done, you want to say that they don't have to be going to the mikvah at the same time.
Right. They have to go at the same time, to the body.
Well,
that's what I'm asking you.
A raya from the bed that you don't.
You don't. You don't have to.
You don't have to. So it's the same thing here.
But this is by a kli, by a human being. When we go to the mikvah, it may be different.
No, except for one thing. But the egg is a billion of neyatzma. Maybe you can do it with the egg.
You want to say it's like a person? There's a difference.
Nothing to do with the mother.
It's like a person. There's a difference.
You don't need this raya.
But an egg is not a person.
Right now,
but you don't need that raya.
But what if you did?
Because an egg, if it's a bria b'fnei you can title it.
An embryo is a
title it.
But the egg is not a bria b'fnei yet. It's just potential.
You say it's a bria b'fnei. You remember about 30 days.
The egg?
Yeah, that's what you told me. The egg.
The egg is like once it's fertilized.
Now you forget to
No,
say
I said
right.
the egg when you made it with the sperm and you have it in vitro.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about. That's what he's talking about.
So you asked me an egg alone.
No, he's talking
Either way, I'm just trying to tell you that something can be done separate.
Who says you have to have the person?
When you brought a raya from Kalim, it may not apply to the human.
Fine. Bring me a proof that it's
No,
not
remember they hopped on us with there's the kingdom, the grafting. Remember they said you can't bring a raya from a tree to a human being.
Zvi says that you can't bring a tree, and everybody learns that from
Exactly.
No, but still learning it.
Okay.
But tefillah, we're not learning the issue of we're looking at the issue of tefillah. That tefillah is considered tefillah. Talking about something else. There, human being is not like a tree.
Right, but here also it could be that it's not. Doesn't
tefillah. Now you want to
it's not clean to a human tefillah.
But there's also
that's
other things
different.
with conversion.
Like in the part, if like the case where the guy's hand came off.
Different piece of the bed.
Are you? Let me ask you a question. The guy when you amputated his hand and he's going to the mikveh. If you put him in the mikveh, then you put the hand in the mikveh. Would that work? I'm not sure it would work. The hand has to, because the hand is dead unless it's connected to you.
He asked the same question.
No, wait a minute. That's two different questions.
And you put just the hand in the mikveh.
Yeah,
and the rest,
I'm not sure that would work.
Okay.
No, but understand something.
Okay. I want two more ayahs. No.
Tara Tum is different than for Geiris.
Page number 27.
For Geiris, maybe you can't put in one at a time.
27?
Yeah. Moshe asked the question: why a Jew who has a relationship with a Goya avlad no Yehudi? Why is that a Yehudi?
What do you mean? A goy with the Jewish girl?
Right.
Who says it's not lo Yehudi? It's a Jewish girl. The mother's
Jewish. The child's Jewish.
Yehudi ala Goya. Yehudi ala
A
Goya.
Yehudi with a goy.
With a Goya.
Okay.
Avlad no Yehudi. Moshe. You want to see Moshe? So first of all, 1/3 he says, page 27, because Rachmana Afker Nizare, the Jew who is have a relationship with a Goya is Rachmana, the Torah is Afker Nizare, and it's not his Zera. And if it's not his Zera, well, you asked the question before, is he a father or not? Somebody said he's a father. He's not a father. Definitely from a Jewish point of view, he's not considered a father. Okay. The second territory of Moshe, let's see it. 2. The Zera lo ufkar, Rashi says, why not? ושייך להביע דאיש הבא עליה. וכן הוא בישראל שבעל הנוחי, אף שישראל לקה אופן שיעשה נוחי מכל מקום, במאי אמו נוחי נעשה נוחי. It became nochi only at the stomach, at the womb, of the uterus of the Goya. כיוון שעדיין לא היה בקדושת ישראל. Yeah, the father gave him the zera. It is sperm. Still it's not the sperm because it becomes Goya in the mouth. Okay.
Before he comes out.
Right, it never has Kedushas Yisrael is what his point is saying.
What?
Because it's always Nochria in her womb. Okay, therefore what?
Therefore, if you took out the egg from her and you put it back after the Giyur,
Then it should be okay.
so it should be okay. Because in the stomach, she's not a goy anymore. When does he become a goy, the kid? Only in the stomach. In the stomach, right now, she's not Jewish. The baby is put back only when
she's
Jewish.
After
Is
the
she
Giyur.
Jewish? The kid should be Jewish too?
No, because but the zera, that's if it's an egg, but not if it's been fertilized.
No,
He wants here it is fertilized. Here it's fertilized in the case of Moshe.
On the second,
right? Yisrael Shabbat Machris. So he wants to say, even though he's Jewish, there's no shaykhs of Judaism in that fetus. The fetus b'mei imo because she's a goyet remains a goyet. That's what Rav Moshe said here. He wants to say now, since the embryo is being put into this Jewish woman who's been converted already, it becomes it's Jewish.
You understand?
He wants to say the me'imo,
that's not what he says. It's the problem is that the zera becomes non-Jewish.
Yeah, like why don't he wanted to say why wasn't the because he says the uterus is a goyish uterus. He's learning the opposite. Since the uterus is a Jewish uterus, we don't have a problem.
No, because
that's what he's saying.
This
Jewish zera that never has a feeling of
Judaism. Zera went in,
it's still Goya because her uterus is Goya. He's saying the opposite. Here the uterus is now Jewish.
The zera was already in the egg. You can't now come
Goya only where Jewish on the stomach.
He's saying
the Moshe is saying like this. Why is it when a Jew has relationship with a sister? It's because the zera, when the zera goes in to the body, it becomes nothing. It becomes non-Jewish.
That's the first score, after. The second score is Nikomaka b'me'imo nochris nasin nochris. His shaykhus of Yiddishkeit never affects anything. Because the uterus controls.
But that was the zera, not an egg. Once it's in the egg, that never happens. Thank you.
Can I give one more eye, not mine? One more eye that you disagree with me. Page number 53.
This is an attempted riot, this piece. What page?
53. Rav Stern is from Rav Osler's Bedin and his Bedin. He says there's no question about it. Well, we were together with it in this house. He says clearly that you need another gerus. The baby is okay. That's what it says. כיוון שהגרוש אינה חלל לעובר, הוא יצטרך גרוש לאחר יציאתו לאוויר העולם. אם כן פשוט לעניות דעתי שהוא כקוטן שנולד לכל דבר, and there's no question about it, he needs גרוש. ואין לו כל קשר עם האם הזאת. He's not related to the mother. And definitely not related to the father. Wow!
Even though it's her egg and it's her uterus.
That's what he said. Wait. And that's what I want to learn. זכורני שהפרימגות נמדן בעניין יין שנקרש. Look how Rabbonim, how the cup works. The halacha is you have grape juice or wine. Wine that got
coagulated. It coagulated.
Coagulated. Okay. האם בטל דין יין ממנו? It's not wine anymore. לעניין קידוש, ואפילו לעניין בויר פרי הגפן. What point are you making? You make
shakol.
Oh, shakol.
Or was it someone?
Or like
shakol.
Okay. Now, so he says. So what's the comparison to here? That's right. He tried to compare it to us.
Change status.
So he says maybe it's not. It's not compared to our case. The Beitzit shukpa and nifcha mimena mu'uma. It's not considered that disappeared. It didn't change.
Was filter? What does he want? Do you see? What is this?
He wants to say that
how is the freezing of it? When you freeze it, it's no longer an egg.
It's not an egg.
That's what he wants to say.
And if it's not an egg, it's something else.
Silence.
It's definitely, I would say it's butter because it's a gorish, right? It's just chocolate.
When it comes back,
Pardon?
then it comes back.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
It doesn't change.
Once he puts it in, if he puts it in that way, it's Mayim B'Yalma, and therefore becomes part of the mother.
If you change the status, then it would
Which is the reverse.
Right, so he's agreeing with us. He's saying the egg, nothing happens to it.
Right.
Vadai ain't is coming ma'uma, so it remains it.
Like they can go back.
Only by a beverage, only by a liquid will it change. Yesh mokum lo mizbatel. He wants to say it's not mizbatel because it doesn't change.
He says that you could say that
If by a liquid.
because it doesn't lose its status. You want to say that it loses its status.
Status, then it was made
Covered
mizbatel.
us, right?
I want to tell you a story on this case. There was here in town somebody, one of the koilets in town. The Rav calls me. What happened is there's a couple that she could carry the baby, however she couldn't get an egg. Okay, she couldn't get an egg. She got an egg. So he asked me what to do. I said rather have a Jewish egg. Got a Jewish egg. So the Rosh Koilel decided that he's going to check who Jewish egg. Who are the parents? Who is this lady? So called the lady. He said, "Are you Jewish?" "Sure, I'm Jewish." "What's your name?" Jewish name.
Do you keep shopping?
Who are your parents? So she says, "My parents are so and so." "They got married?" "Sure, they got married." "Will you send me the ksuva of your parents?"
Were they opening up a tick in the Rabbanos?
They can you send me the ksuva? Send the ksuva. So nicht geht geworden was the ksuva of a conservative kiddushi. So the Rav said, "I have a problem. I'm not sure she's Jewish, and if she's not Jewish, I don't want. I have to have a Giyur."
It was not a conversion. It was not a conversion.
So she.
But if she's still a Jew,
you don't know.
She don't know.
It's not because of parents and didn't marry.
Okay, wait. So the man there said, "Look, I am a Sephardi, and I know that the Rav Eliyahu passing the halacha that goes according to your letter. So I don't care if the egg donor is Jewish or Goyish. I am going to anyway do it because for me, my wife is Jewish. That's good enough. I go according to your letter. I go according to the surrogate. The problem is, so the Rosh said, "I am not going to write you a letter that."
According to Bala
What did Nati say?
I'm not going to write you a letter that she's Jewish because I can't give it. So I don't care. The truth of the matter, in 20 years from now, if this kid, let's assume this kid is going to be a boy or a girl, let's assume, she's going to get married to an Ashkenazi that doesn't hold Rav Eliyahu, holds exactly like Rav Elyoshi, that need the Giyor. You have to have a problem. I think that's answer you now. Now you can say what you wanted to say.
He's finished.
Okay, so you see the problem. This is
What happened?
It's a very big problem. It's not that simple.
They had a baby.
It's not. It could be. They're Jewish.
Sure, Southern Jewish. There's no question about Southern Jewish. According to Rav Eliyahu, they're Jewish. There's no question about that.
But I agree. I'm not saying the question doesn't make sense. I'm just saying one thing. We try to add.
Just because she was married, David. Just because she was married, David. Just because she was married, the woman was married by a conservative rabbi, does not change her Jewish status. I don't know what the problem
No, except for one no. The concern is that one of the
or that they didn't check the parents of them.
That's what it is.
He doesn't want to rely on it. No, it's because he doesn't want to rely on it. That's the problem. The Rav just didn't want to rely on the concern of the Suba. He didn't want to rely on it.
It's okay?
Why? Because they